Well, we've just had a surprise. We had a male leopard running into this sighting, and then he's here. But we've got a feeling that this is not Mvula. Let me just update the guys on the radio. Yeah, Taxi's just laying down. He's not up by the bamba, but he's just on the bushes now. Thank you. Tags, you copy? Oh, the hyena's up, so they can clearly smell the leopard, and they know something's up. Yeah, affirmative. He's not on the bamba, but he's just lying around here. I just have a feeling this is another Madora. Alright, that out of the way. So you see how quickly those sleepy hyenas got up. They know something's up. They know somebody else is here. I'm just going to avoid moving for now. I know the visual is not great just because we have different scenarios that could play out here. So I just want to give them a bit of space until they all feel a bit more comfortable moving around. Puzzle and see what's actually been happening throughout the night. I think it was quite an active night for everything actually. Well, we've got Shangili on the one side with the hyenas, and now we've got another male leopard with more hyenas. So I reckon not everyone went to bed early last night. I think he's just hiding in there now. Yeah. So you guys have a feeling it is Tingana, and so do we. He seemed to be a bit younger, but again, like we said, he was just running back to the kill, and then the hyenas started moving, so he quickly laid down, and that's where he's been for the last few minutes. So I'm sure at some point he's going to start moving again. We just got to give him a bit of time to do that. Bit better there. Maybe I'm gonna try going back for its face. I don't think we can. So you see, he's not sleeping. He's very actively looking at the hyenas that are just in the direction of the carcass, the direction where his head is pointing. But again, look out how incredible his camouflage is. You could barely see him. I mean, I think he did come from the road, but just as he walked off the road and into this area, it's so hard to see him. The grass looks very much like the color of his skin. All these spots break his body shape. So it's a bit... So he's relying on pretty much all of that. Look at those ears. Let's see, the ears are looking quite good. I do think this could be Tingana and not our good friend Mvula. Tingana was left, however, last night walking north from where he was just last seen. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came on his territorial patrol and then just bumped into Mvula or bumped into this site. But how's that for a surprise? Oh, somebody's getting comfy. Crystal, you've even managed to identify the hyena we were looking at, Corky. So we've got Tingana and Corky on site, which is always good to know. And wonder how this is going to play, because I can't see Corky anymore. She seems to have gone back down, and Tingana's definitely moving there. You can see that tail moving in the grass. So it's always a good indication that they're thinking about something, they're plotting about something. It'll be interesting. He could also be quite wary, not only because he knows that the that the hyenas are here, but that there is a kill that he hasn't made that belongs to somebody else. So he doesn't know if there's another male around, if Mvula will come back, or what's actually happening. So he's got a, like we were discussing earlier, they are solitary animals. So they can't rely on anyone but themselves to actually look after all of the environment and everything that's around. He's just gotten into a tricky spot now. Kafta, you'd like to know if any other mammals store their kills on a tree. Not to my extent, not any of the other African mammals that I know of at least. I'm sure there's an exception to the rule. But in this particular area, we only have the leopards that have evolved to do this, and we will have other species of animals, but mostly birds and smaller things, not necessarily big mammals. In some areas, I know further towards Botswana and Tanzania, they have recorded every now and again a lion doing something similar, but it's definitely not something that is too common. Alright, we've had one of the other vehicles join us, so we're just going to wait for them to stop moving before we try and reposition and try and get a better look of Tingana. Okay, while we try to find a better view for all of you, we're just gonna reposition, just gonna go to Brent and his bushwalk, see what he's up to. I will, don't worry. Right, sorry guys, we're still back here. Tingana has now laid down. He's busy hiding. He hasn't really moved. We're pretty sure that he is just assessing the situation and what's going on. Very exciting because he clearly did not make this kill, as we were with Mvula yesterday who had made it. And the kill has been hoisted up in a tree not too far. And judging by the look that he gave us, the look on his face when he arrived and he saw the kill, he had that proper surprise look and was like, oh my god, what is that? So we are pretty sure that he's just bumped into this and he's not really quite sure what's happening. He knows the hyenas are there. He's just now seen the kill hanging up a tree, and because we are on a different angle, we can see that there's actually quite a bit of meat left up there. Just as VM is pointing, if you see over there, they could potentially still eat lots of pieces in and out of this, what's left of this impala, and then also more towards the horns. Exactly, if you see there, there's still a very good meal left all around this impala for them. It seems a bit bony depending on the angle where we see it, but I'm sure, oh well, hello. I believe that is Corky, as if I'm not mistaken. Ellen, you would like to know if Tingana perhaps hoisted Mvola's kill. It could happen. It could really happen where a leopard steals another leopard's kill and then they put it up in safety away. It could be an explanation of what's happened. However, judging by Tingana's behavior right now and the fact that he hasn't really gone up and that he looked really surprised when he came around this area, he was quite wary. He was looking at the kill moving around. Maybe he just bumped into it. But it's also a possibility that he just stole somebody else's kill and then put it up a tree, and now it's waiting for the appropriate moment to go back up on the tree and then just enjoy this kill. It happens a lot, and this is why it's so hard being a predator out in Africa. You don't only have to compete with predators of other species, you also have to compete with predators of the same species, so other leopards. So it is could happen that was the story. I suppose only Tingana's behavior will let us know a bit more later on. Although for now, he seems he's quite happy to lie in there and just taking advantage of the beautiful camouflage and then just making it a bit harder for all of us to see him. You know, good things come to those who wait, and I think he is definitely making us wait. Busy panting. We only saw one set of leopard tracks when we were around here, tracks going up and down, so that's why I'm a bit reluctant to believe that Tingana actually stole this kill throughout the night. However, we can't really tell by the amount of things that actually happened in the bush, because it's a bit harder to try and find tracks when the grass is so long. So you see, this is probably one of my favorite things while you're out on safari, is just trying to put the puzzle together and try to piece the information and get a whole picture of what actually happened throughout the night. Probably because too much happened now, they're just busy doing this, just chilling for a little while. I wonder. Okay, we are gonna stick around with these guys for a little bit longer, see if they do decide to get a bit more active. But in the meantime, let's go back to Brent and the big elephant that he's found for you. Sorry guys, the hyena just walked away, obviously, as we were just about to come back to us. She has been lying not too far from the tree, just keeping an eye on Tingana and the kill. However, I think it's now decided to move into where it's slightly warmer, gone into some thicker bushes as everything is doing around here. I think this has become pretty much a game of patience. As far as I'm being told, Tingana seems to be quite a patient leopard. So I wouldn't be surprised if he waited and waited and waited just to make sure he's got that perfect window of opportunity, that perfect moment to then try and approach the tree, climb up on the tree, and then start feeding on the kill. Also, if they've been moving around the whole night, like we suspect he has, I'm sure he's a bit tired too, so having a bit of a nap just in between. So we'll see what happens around this area. The weather is quite forecast, so it's all the good conditions are there for him to potentially come up and see what's happening. Also good weather conditions, because we don't know what happened during the night with Mvula, for maybe Mvula to even pop by and just come and say hello to Tingana, which I reckon wouldn't be the warmest of greetings. But we will see. Not too sure where the other hyenas have gone. They seem to all have retreated further into the bush. Christina, you'd like to know if Tingana could get hurt by these hyenas, and the answer is yes. So, because of their very strong jaws and the fact that there's a kill here, and saying that he is a fully grown male leopard, I doubt the hyenas would actually try and go and hunt them. But if the situation turned into... Oh, there's another vehicle coming. I thought it was maybe an elite. So if the situation presented itself and they managed to bite him on a leg or somewhere, they could do a lot of damage, as hyenas can do. However, because they're all in different spots, the hyenas don't really have access to the kill for now. They're all waiting to see who's going to make the first move. But often, hyenas are one of the main predators of tiny leopard cubs, just because predators compete with each other for their resources being for the prey in an area and food, and water, sorry. And so they tend to kill one another. So maybe to an older male leopard like this one, who's been around for a while and knows what hyenas are up to, what they can do, it'll be harder for them to actually do any damage. But if he's caught unaware or, you know, by surprise, they could hurt him. I do think that the fact that there's a nice lovely tree up here would play in his favor, because if the hyenas get a bit too much, whoop, all he has to do is just jump on the tree, be patient again till the hyenas get a bit bored, and then they'll go away. I wonder, I'm hoping one of them will come again. Avi, you would like to know how high a leopard can jump. I'm not 100% sure in terms of meters. I want to say that they're able to jump about maybe 10 meters high. But if you guys can just double check that fact for me, that'll be great, because then we could know. I do know that he would very easily be able to jump to one of the lower branches from this tree, and then the one there to the left of the screen. And I'm sure you would be able to very, very easily jump up there and then carry on. Also, they've been known often. You have these fences around the game reserve just to prevent them from going into the local communities or into where humans live or where there's cattle and so on. And the fences are, I would say, normally about 2 meters tall, so they cannot jump like that, but they're able to find a step and then jump again, so they can jump quite high. We'll see. Now there's a bit of commotion around here. Alright, we are also playing this game of patience with the leopard and the hyenas, but while we do that, why don't you guys go back to Tristan with Shungile? I would suggest to Brent that he should probably look through every bush, and that could be a way where he could find Karula. I mean, look how happily Tingana is, and how hard it would be to see him if we weren't standing from the right angle. So there's always hope, and I know Brent and everyone's checking very, very thoroughly to try and find her, and hopefully they will. In the meantime, our territorial male leopard over here doesn't seem to have been too bothered. He did just before a few moments ago, he lifted his head, looked at us, looked around, and then decided that was it, and went back down. We have a strong feeling, though, that he knows this is not his kill, and that there potentially could be another leopard around, so that we think that that's why he hasn't really made a move, and why he is lying down here trying to wait it out, see what happens if there is somebody else that's gonna come. I don't know if it's clear from the shape of the tree over there, but his head is just underneath, tucked in there. There we go. He had some cuts that we could see on top of his nose, but they seem to be older wounds. So I don't know if you guys could help me out here and tell me if maybe when you saw him yesterday he had these older wounds over there, or if he could have gotten them throughout the night. That would make for an interesting twist of events. James, you'd like to know if Tingana is possibly lying in ambush for Mvula? Definitely. There's a very, very strong possibility that that's exactly what he's doing. And he's just waiting there just to when Mvula comes back, so he can just show him who the dominant male is around. So you see, male leopards are not tolerant of other male leopards around, and the reason for it being because this is his territory, this is his area, and no other male is allowed to come here to steal any of the females he might desire to mate with that his territory holds, or to eat any of the food or the water that he might have around in this area. And this is why some animals become territorial. They just try to prevent others from coming and using any of the resources. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is actually waiting in ambush for Mbola. We have a strong feeling that is what he is doing, because he hasn't approached the kill yet. He definitely doesn't seem too bothered with the hyena, but he is patiently waiting in this area. Still no signs of Mbola around here. Tracks have been going up and down, and I know one of the other vehicles was trying to track Mbola from where the tracks left up this morning, but also they've had no luck so far. So it could be that Mbola is long gone, or it could be that he's actually not too far around here. Maybe he's even seeing us from somewhere and just also playing a game of patience with Tingana. Or letting us know that Tingana had semi-fresh wounds when you last saw him, or I think when you saw him last week. So it's a good confirmation that none of these wounds are new. They obviously, through the grasses, is sometimes a bit difficult to see, but they didn't appear all that fresh to us. So I don't think he's had an encounter with Mbola yet. Would be interesting if it does. But good to know that he is in good shape. And being the dominant male around the area does come with a few cuts and scrapes here and there. Nothing too serious. I think for the time being, seeing he is so happily asleep, we're gonna just leave him for a little while, and we're gonna carry on, go around the block one more time, see if perhaps there was anything we missed that could point us in the direction of the other male leopard, and we'll go back to Tristan and see what he's up to while we do that. Well, it seems like our patience game finally paid off. Look who is up on a tree, enjoying a better view and a bit of a breeze. Our beautiful boy Tingana has just gone up the tree. He seems to be resting. I'm don't really think that he has actually fed on any of the kill, but he seems to be quite content up all the way up there. Could be that he decided he got tired of waiting to ambush Mbula. Mbula's nowhere to be found. And while there's a free meal up there, why not enjoy it? Doesn't seem like his belly's too full from where we're standing. But it is, look at him just hugging that tree. It is amazing sometimes the positions that leopards manage to get themselves into just to be able to sleep on top of a marula. I don't even know how he's comfortable, because he seems to be almost falling on the one side, just, balancing the last bit on that branch all the way there. Look at those paws over there, the one hanging, typical leopard fashion. This is the way every leopard should actually be sleeping on a Sunday. Look at that beautiful color. Lauren, you would like to know if Mbula is too old to be territorial. Let me see how I can put this. They won't become too old to be territorial. That is something that is in their nature. They will always want to have a territory of their own, the resources and everything else. But sometimes what would happen is as they get older, then they are not successful in managing to prevent other younger, stronger males from coming into their territory. So it would seem at the moment, from what I've been hearing around from the different guides and from what I've been observing in the past few months, that Mbula doesn't have a set territory. He's just been in the periphery of, or the outskirts of, different males' territory. So I've seen him around the areas where the Anderson male leopard is normally found, some areas where quarantine was, and now where Tingana is. So I think he's just enjoying the gaps while these males are away. He could, you never know, he could potentially come back if there's a sudden gap or one of our male leopards or more dominant younger male leopards were to disappear. He would take advantage of it. But for the time being, I think he's just not quite going to do that. I mean, there are no signs of him. We have a younger male leopard around, so it's a good possibility that he's just decided to go somewhere else and avoid this fight to live another day. When you put it like this guy's belly does seem quite full. Look at that stomach over there. So if he hasn't been eating at this particular kill, he's definitely been eating something else. I think he is actually having a bit of trouble balancing on that stomach of his. If you see him, he's rolling constantly between the one side and the other because he doesn't want to tip over. Ah, hello. Look at those very, very sharp canines still around. I don't know if you guys remember from yesterday, we could see that Mbula's bottom right canine was actually in half, so another sign that he's an older male. And we've got Tingana here, who's just enjoying a bit of a Sunday snooze. I think this is the proper bliss for a leopard. I mean, look at him. He's got food on the one branch, he's sitting on another one, there's a nice breeze, he doesn't really have to go anywhere. Probably something along the lines of the real estate lottery for this man. Well, hello. Also a good way to tell the difference between an older male and a younger male is if we look at the ears. I don't know if you guys remember yesterday, Mbula's ears were quite tattered. They had a lot more holes than the ones that Tingana does. And this is obviously because they walk in an environment where there are a lot of thorns, a lot of branches that might damage the ears every now and again, but also a lot of fighting. So fighting with other males, trying to bring down the prey. These are all things that will give them the scars that they end up showing and wearing very, very proudly as a sign of power, as a sign of strength, and as a sign of being survivors. Liam, what do you think? I think he's got the best spot. Okay, while this beautiful male carries on chilling over here, let's just go to Brent and see what he's up to. Well, somebody's decided to play the balancing act on all the marula branches. So he's just woken up. I think he might either be contemplating of finding another more shady spot away from the sun that would seem to be hitting them right in his face, or he might even try and attempt and walk a bit just closer to the kill, just on the other side of the tree. Now, if you see that big flap of skin underneath his, yep, right there, underneath his jaw, that is called the dewlap, and it's a good indicator that this male is a territorial male leopard. Normally, as they get older, then they develop this much thicker neck. There's this very, very big flap of skin underneath, and it's a good way of just knowing that he is the one in charge. Although I think he's not quite sure of what's going to happen next. Let's see. Cut towards you. Okay, well, I think that was a bit of scratching, actually. Yes, I have seen leopards sleeping and then they have fallen off trees. It is actually one of the funniest things to see, because they can sometimes even be snoring and then they just let down their guard for just that 1 second, like we were seeing Tingana just earlier. The stomach that is somewhat full flops a little bit to the side and then they lose their balance because there's much more weight on one side than the other. So yes, they can definitely fall. But bear no mistake, just as soon as they fall, then they're very, very quick to get up back on their feet and probably go back up the tree. But just like our cats, they have a good ability of landing on their feet, even if they have to turn in mid-air, like a matrix type of thing, and then just make sure they fall the right way. Yeah, the feet just moving. It's almost like he's, going along to some song, but it's just really the movement that's produced by the rest of his body panting. Now, it is getting a bit hot here, and animals, just like us humans, they have to regulate their body temperature. And because they don't sweat like what we do, I know, just imagine when you go for a run or you play outside and everything else, and your body starts producing water as a way to try and cool itself down. Well, the animals here, they don't sweat like what we do, but they use their mouth just to try and cool everything down. So the quicker they breathe, it's a way of knowing just how hot they are. So I think he is somewhat hot. I think the sun might just be getting to him just on the top there at his bottom area. And you can hear him now panting as well. If you can hear that. He's gone back to sleep, it would seem. Well, there's some funny behavior that we're watching here. Definitely there's a bit more to the story than what we can find out. But I'm sure later on he knows the kill is here, and probably when it's a bit less hot for him, he might just go around and start feeding on it. I think for now he's just sorted out the marula puzzle and managed to find himself in a position where all his legs are actually doing most of the work and he can just lie in there happily. Look at all those rosettes. From here, I know you guys were discussing earlier just how soft a leopard's coat can be. So, well, this one, it's having done some leopard research in the past and being lucky enough to be close to darted leopards, I can tell you it's quite a rough skin. But this one is looking in particularly great condition. You can tell that he is by no means under any stress, and he's just seems to be thriving. Very, very beautiful. Hey, oh boy. Now, all those spots that VM is busy pointing out, those are called rosettes, and those are, let's call them the spots that we use to identify leopards. So they grow they come up in this pattern where they will be normally in a circular way and just with a lighter point in them. And all of them are different, just like fingerprints. So if we were to look at all of these ones here, and then we were to look at the ones on the same side of the body of Mvula, it would be completely different. And we could tell pretty much straight away which one was which if we knew their pattern by heart. A lot of the times when people do research, this is what they look at. Shannon, you'd like to know how many spots does the leopard have? That's actually a very good question. I don't know. I would guess that probably somewhere around the hundreds. If we count all of them from the tip of the toes to the tip of the tail, I wouldn't be surprised if they had about maybe 500, maybe more. I don't know if there's actually anyone that's counted the spot of a leopard. I mean, just look at his face right there, all this tiny little spot on the whiskers and everything else. I reckon just on his face we could get to maybe 100 and 150, maybe 200 even. It would be an interesting exercise if we could ever just get a leopard to hold still on both sides. Okay, seems like this old boy is going to be here, and we're going to thank him for being such a champ this morning and just gracing us with his presence just when we thought that we weren't going to find anybody else. And I just want to say goodbye to everyone. It's been a pleasure having you around here. I'm very happy that we ended up with this beautiful boy up there, and hope to see you on the next safari.